Welcome back to In the Kitchen with Grace. Today I am making super easy, absolutely delicious appetizer. We're making a 7-layer Mexican dip with a few alternative toppings and additions. This is just a classic game day, watching a football game, having friends over, take it to a holiday get-together recipe. I'm actually just making it because we're actually home this weekend, and so I'm sure that the guys will be watching some sports on TV, and it's just something fun to have in the fridge for anybody to snack on whenever they want. And so the 7 basic ingredients for a traditional 7-layer Mexican dip is your refried beans, guacamole, sour cream, salsa, some olives, some tomatoes, some green onions for the top, and of course you gotta have some shredded cheese. So to start this out though, I like to do a couple of twists. You can totally leave these options out if you want, or you can be sure to add them, and it just adds a little extra kick to the flavor. For my refried beans, I'm just using 1 can here, and I put it into a bowl and I added some taco seasoning, maybe like 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning, and mixed it into my refried beans. I am using a square baking dish. Anything that you can store easily in the fridge that will hold the shape of your taco dip and cover with a lid works great. And we're just going to spoon the beans in to the dish. This is the first layer. And then you just kind of spoon it around so it covers the bottom nicely. If you're looking for some other fun, easy recipes for crowds, for game day, holidays, I have a slow cooker hot buffalo chicken dip that's delicious. We have crab dip. I will link to some of these ideas for you, and I also have a playlist, like a make ahead play food game day potluck type playlist. Lots of fruit salads that are delicious and healthy and easy to make. Okay, that's in there nicely. And then the second layer of this recipe is guacamole. Well, I personally like to use fresh ripened avocados. I like to personally mash them, and then I add lemon juice, probably about 1 to 2 tablespoons of lemon juice into my avocados. I have mashed up 2 avocados, good sized avocados, but you can certainly use already made guacamole if you would like to. And then again, you just kind of spread it around. And I am going to do what I call a simplified, picky eater, kid-friendly side to this dip, because I have 1 kid that does not like olives. I have a kid that doesn't like the avocados, and so I kind of make corners for them. So I like that about this dip. And then of course my husband likes things spicy. He likes jalapenos in his stuff. So I'll kind of be making this into 4s for our family to enjoy. Okay, after the guacamole, we do sour cream. And I'm gonna grab a clean spoon here. And just do a nice layer of sour cream on top of your guacamole. And then our fourth layer of this dip is our salsa. And I'm gonna kind of just gently pour it on here, and then I'll spread it around. So I used about 2/3 of a container of sour cream and maybe 3/4 of a jar of salsa. And I don't even need to spoon it. Like, it just kind of settles right into place. And then we are going to add our cheese on top. You can use any kind of shredded cheese. I usually use either the taco, the Colby Jack, or sharp cheddar. But I know they have versions out now that are like jalapeno or queso. You can do whatever kind you want. You want to make sure you get a nice, good, thick layer of cheese because everybody likes cheese. But again, if you are making this for a crowd and you need to do some changes, like maybe you have people who don't want cheese or sour cream, you can always do a corner however you want to. So it's kind of a very versatile dip. Here we go. Let's add a little bit more here. And then our last two layers are tomatoes and green onions. Use whatever tomatoes you want, usually Roma. I happen to have cherry grape tomatoes on hand left over from big salads that we made, so I just diced those up. Works pretty well. There we go. And then the last layer is the green onion. Just sprinkle that on top. This is a very pretty dish to make. And I am going to add olives to my side of this dip because I really enjoy olives. Add a few more. And honestly, I think my husband won't mind a couple of olives on his side. He likes those a little bit. And then I'm going to dice up a little bit of jalapeno probably and put that on his side. And we are all set and ready to go to enjoy. Welcome back to In the Kitchen with Grace. Hope you all are doing wonderfully well. Today we're doing a really simple, easy, healthy, fun fall fruit salad. It has grapes, blueberries, apples. We're gonna do a little cinnamon orange dressing for it. Super easy, and it's delicious, of course. So what I have done is I'm actually just gonna use the bowl I am going to store the fruit salad in the refrigerator. And I've got about 2 cups of red grapes. I am going to add to my bowl. And I have already rinsed off my grapes. I probably should rinse off my blueberries as well, but do 1 cup of one kind of berry, or you can split it up and throw in a little variety of berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. Today I'm going to use a little bit of blueberries, probably about 1/2 cup. And I am actually going to use about 1/4 cup of cranberries. We just did last week, just a sprinkling there of the dried cranberries. We did batches of apple crisp because we had all these apples from our apple trees. They make an amazing traditional old-fashioned apple crisp. But last week we threw a twist on it and added cranberries and pecans to it, and it was so good. But I have leftover cranberries and pecans to use up, so I'm going to put those in this fruit salad. And actually I'm going to go ahead and add my pecans as well. Anywhere from 1/2 cup to 1 cup is fine. I'm just going to use my hand here. Guess I didn't quite use them up. I'll have to throw them in some like banana bread or muffins or something. And then before I cut the apples, now because apples brown so quickly, when you cut them, I'm going to make my dressing first. And you want the zest. and the juice of 1 orange. And so I am going to carefully get some zest off this orange. This year it's been all about lemons and limes for me in the kitchen, so it's fun to get back to orange and grapefruit. That being fall, the winter citrus season's almost here. Speaking of grapefruit, I have a really yummy, healthy grapefruit smoothie bowl recipe. Check that out. Lots of fruit smoothie bowls, actually. I really like those. I'm one of those people that when it comes to fresh fruit, I like it with something or blended in or mixed in with something. I don't really like to eat it just plain. And so anytime I come up with a smoothie or a fruit salad, I'm all over it. Especially when you're a mom and you have kids, and kids are picky eaters too. Coming up with different ways to get them to get their fruit and their veggies in is always a plus. All right, that should be good. If you take a look at the back here, you can see I've got all this orange zest. It's weird for me because I live in the Midwest, but I have family down in Florida where it's natural orange citrus growing, and it just tastes phenomenally different to have oranges from down there than what we get up here. So every time I'm using oranges, I'm thinking about the fresh ones back there. A large orange, I'm going to see how much juice half gives me, and then if you got smaller orange, you might want to use 2. It's a pretty soft and juicy orange. Go ahead and use the other half here. Get the vitamin C in there. If you're new, welcome. I do all sorts of super easy, mostly healthy. I mean, let me tell you, I love to bake, so we've definitely got desserts on this channel, but I love to do recipes that incorporate fresh fruits, herbs, and veggies from the garden. And I'm a busy mom, so anything that's a healthy, quick lunch for me, healthy, quick dinner for our family at night, I'm all about it. All right, I've got the orange juice washed off my hand. I'm gonna grab some cinnamon. You want about 3/4 teaspoon or so of cinnamon. Maybe not quite a full teaspoon. And then I'm gonna grab maple syrup, and I'm using real maple syrup. It's totally worth it. Let me tell you, I love like pancakes and waffles and stuff. I used to have them all the time when I was younger for breakfast, and then as I got older, I switched to using real maple syrup, and I will not go back to the old stuff. Let's see, we're gonna do 2 tablespoons here of maple syrup, especially when it comes to cooking and baking. Like if it's just pancakes, all right, I'll have traditional syrup, but when I'm gonna bake and cook, I like to use the good stuff. Okay. I'm gonna give this a nice little mix. Get the cinnamon in there good. All right, let's set that to the side. We're gonna grab our apples, and I've got 1 good-sized apple and 1 smaller apple. You want about 2, like 2 apples worth, probably about 1.5 cups or so of apples. So use what you've got and gauge whether you want to use just 1 or 1.5 or 2 apples. And I'm leaving the peels on. Lots of nutrients in the skin of the apples. And I'm going to cut this into bite-sized pieces. I'm going to just toss it right into our bowl of grapes and blueberries and cranberries. I have sitting here this really pretty little bouquet of flowers. I garden. I do a lot of vegetable and herb gardening, but I grow flowers as well. And so it's the end of summer, so a lot of stuff is kind of reaching the end of its peak season, but I had to put together a little pretty vase. You can follow my gardening and my herbs and fruit trees and my flowers and flower bouquets and all that at Fields of Grace IA on Facebook. I'll try to remember to link to that below as well. Oh, speaking of social media, you guys, we just started our In the Kitchen with Grace Instagram. So I will leave the link to that below also for you. It's a new page, so if you're looking at one of our older recipe videos, the link might be to the old page. We had to start a new one, so okay. It's all right if you have a little bit of brown on your apples. It doesn't mean it's gone bad. It just means that it's turning into sugar. It's natural fruit sugars, kind of like with bananas. All right, I'm gonna grab my spoon, set the apple peels to the side. Let's grab the spoon. I'm gonna toss this just a little bit before I add in the dressing. Now, if you wanted to, you could actually add some granola to this as well. However, if it's gonna sit, if you're not gonna eat it right away, the granola would get wet with the dressing. But if you're gonna like pull out some salad, you want to add a little healthy grains to it, you could add granola to the top of your fruit salad. Okay, let's add our dressing. Get that cinnamon out. Make sure you get everything coated well with the cinnamon, orange, and maple syrup. Let's scoop a little up. I just had some potato soup for lunch today. Need a little fruit here to go with it, so I'm going to scoop some up. And there we go. Super tasty, it's healthy, it's kind of refreshing, and it's got those wonderful, delightful fall scents and flavors for you. Thank you guys for watching today, and we will see y'all next time. Today we are going to make a really fun, healthy winter citrus salad using grapefruits and oranges, fresh mint, some lime, and some honey. It's sweet, but it's packed with that vitamin C, all the good stuff that your immune system wants and needs in winter. We are very big into our fruit salads in our family, so it's always fun when I have new recipes or new twists, and this is definitely one that my family really enjoys. My kids are not big grapefruit fans, but they like this recipe because it makes your grapefruit a little bit sweeter. And so in this bowl, you guys, I have peeled and separated 4 oranges and 2 large grapefruits. And I'm going to go ahead and start to kind of slice and dice them up into bite-sized pieces. I have the oranges and grapefruits all diced up here in my bowl. We're gonna put the dressing together, and we are gonna do about 3 tablespoons of honey. I'm honestly just gonna eyeball this. We're just gonna go 1, 2, 3. I feel like a tablespoon of honey is like 1 good squeeze out of your honey bottle. And then we are going to go ahead and add, normally I would use the zest of a lime, but I don't have any limes, but I got lime juice. And so I'm going to give it just probably about a teaspoon or so of lemon juice. And then I am going to get some mint. Now, I like to use fresh mint. This is one of the herbs I keep indoors. In the winter, I bring my mint plant, one of them inside. If you have orange mint, sometimes I grow an orange mint plant. That works really nicely because it kind of accentuates the natural orange in this fruit salad, but regular mint works just fine. And I'm gonna grab some sprigs here, some leaves of mint off my plant. I'm one of those people, I absolutely love mint. My favorite candy is a peppermint patty. So anytime I get to use mint, it gets me very happy. Let's grab some leaves here. Okay. I'm gonna give this a quick little dice. It smells amazing. I'm gonna grab a couple more mint leaves. I always plant fresh mint at the beginning of every summer because I do use it up quite a bit. If you're looking for some other fruit salad ideas, I have a honey lime fruit salad that is our kids' favorite. I've got a mojito fruit salad. It's got a little mojito twist to it. I've got a summer citrus salad. Let's see, what else have we been up to with citrus? I'm trying to think. I'm gonna go ahead and add, I don't like to mix the mint into the honey lime. I actually like to add it straight to the fruit itself. If you want some alternatives to throw into this fruit salad, also kiwi goes really nicely with the grapefruit and oranges, blackberries as well. But I really like keeping it just the grapefruit and oranges myself. All right, mint's kind of mixed in nicely. Feel free to add as much mint as you would like. I'm gonna kind of keep mine on the light side. I'm gonna give my honey lime juice just a little bit of a stir. I'm actually gonna add just a dash more lime juice here. Kind of mix it in with that honey. So grapefruit kind of has a little bit of a bitter taste to it, and it's hard to get kids, at least I feel like it's hard to get kids to want to eat it. So if you want to, you could sprinkle a little bit of white sugar onto, you can either put it on the whole salad or when you scoop up their serving, sprinkle just a little bit of white sugar on top, and it kind of sweetens it enough that they don't get that bitter taste out of your grapefruit. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and mix this together. Get that honey all worked in. All right, this is good to go. This just is a great snack. It's great to pair with lunch, with breakfast, with dinner. It's definitely one of my go-to fruit salads. That and the honey lime fruit salad. These are staples we make like every month in our family. I hope you all like this recipe. Comment below what your favorite fruit salad is, and I hope you all will stick around. Be sure to check out that fruit playlist and the side salad playlist. I think that's where all of my fruit salad recipes are. They're also over on our In the Kitchen with Grace 1 Pinterest account where you can pin and save them for when you are ready to use the recipes. Thank you all so much. Have a great day. Welcome back to In the Kitchen with Grace. I hope you all are doing very well. Today I am making one of our family favorites. We are doing a buffalo chicken dip. This is great to have with Tostitos and crackers, and you could even make like little croissant sandwiches out of the hot buffalo chicken. And I have made this recipe a couple months ago, and something happened in the editing and the uploading of it to YouTube. It like got stuck for like 4 minutes. So I said that I would come back, and the next time we made this recipe, I would record it again. So that's what we are doing today. For this recipe, you're going to want 2 chicken breasts. I have cooked mine in the slow cooker with some chicken and herb seasoning and chicken broth, and then I have let it cool and I have shredded it with forks. So it is cooled down quite a bit. You are going to want 8 ounces of cream cheese. You're going to want 2/3 cup of sour cream, 2/3 cup of hot buffalo dip. I use Frank's Red Hot wing sauce, the buffalo version. And then you are going to want a cup of sharp shredded cheddar cheese and a cup of mozzarella shredded cheese. My recipe, I usually use some diced green onions. I only have regular onions on hand, so I'm going to use that instead. And then we're going to add some garlic powder also. So it's a pretty simple recipe. This is absolutely a crowd-pleasing favorite, whether you're going to take it to a holiday get-together, it's game day party food, a potluck, or you just want it to have it at home throughout the week or the weekend for your family to enjoy. I absolutely love this recipe, and we're going to just go ahead and get started. So I am going to do my cream cheese. I actually have just a little bit extra cream cheese from one container, so I'm going to use probably about 10-11 ounces of cream cheese here, but that's okay. I'm trying to use up some stuff we have on hand, and then I'm going to go ahead and use a full 8-ounce container. I normally like to hand mix everything that I make, but this is one of those recipes where I do pull out the hand mixer because I feel like blending the cream cheese and the sour cream together is key. And then for my sour cream, I actually have about 3/4 of a cup left in here, so I'm not even going to measure. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in. You don't have to be super exact on this recipe because the amount of chicken you have varies a little bit also. And I'm going to get my hand mixer and I'm going to blend this together now so that it's creamy and smooth. It also helps if you let your cream cheese sit out and get to closer to room temperature so it's nice and soft. So I'm going to go ahead and add my garlic powder in. And I'm just going to sprinkle it. Do about a teaspoon or so. And I'm going to add my onions. I do about 1/4 cup maybe of diced green onion or regular onion. And then we're going to add our buffalo sauce. And I actually use a measuring cup for this because I don't want to get too much. And so I'm going to use my 1/2 cup here. Okay, there's 1/2 cup. I'm going to fill it halfway so we get, or not quite halfway. There we go. Close enough to 2/3 of a cup. Again, you don't have to be exact. Just don't go crazy on the hot sauce. You want that to be just the perfect amount of heat and not be so much that it doesn't going to taste good. So now I'm going to mix this together. This is one of those perfect make ahead, take along recipes. If you're looking for some other party food, game day side dishes, desserts, go ahead and subscribe. I have playlists set up for each of those, so you can check those things out. Crock-pot mac and cheese is another good one. Okay, now I'm going to add my chicken. And again, this is 2 chicken breasts. They were good sized ones. Mix this together really well. going to pour it into my baking dish. I'm using a pretty large baking dish here. This is also one of those recipes that's really easy to double if you're going to be taking it to a really big get-together, having a lot of company over. All right, and then I blend my cheese. I'm actually just going to shake it right on out here. So you can use really whatever flavor shredded cheese you want. I am going to mix the first layer of cheese in just a little bit. And then the shredded sharp cheddar we put on top. Just like that. Nice layer that covers the whole top. And then we're gonna bake this in the oven. Probably for about a half an hour. I do mine at about 375 degrees. Every oven varies a little bit. You could also put this in your slow cooker. If you want an alternative as well, you could get a dry ranch packet and mix that into your chicken mixture as well. For a little alternative flavor, I'm going to go ahead and bake this and we'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. The hot buffalo chicken dip is done. It's ready. And I'm going to have some with some Tostitos. I hope you all like this video. And we will see y'all next time. Welcome back to In the Kitchen with Grace. This morning I am making a fun little appetizer dip. It's a whipped feta honey dip, and this recipe is very versatile. You could add in some fruits and berries, you could add in some nuts, basically whatever your favorite flavors are, you can add into this recipe. I'm going to leave the recipe in the description below. And it's so simple, and I love that you can just kind of pair this with so many different things. You could use pita chips, naan bread, Triscuit crackers. I'm actually going to bake this a little bit with some crostini bread in the oven for a little bit of a snack today, and I'll share that all with you. So let's jump in. So I actually have about a half a block of feta cheese in here. If you're looking for some alternatives to use up feta you have on hand, I did a really light and yummy mango feta salad, fruit salad. I will link to that as well. A great way to use up feta all along with this recipe. So I've got the half a block of feta crumbled up into my bowl. I'm using a bigger bowl because we're going to get our mixer out. You can also use the crumbles, like if you just got a container of feta crumbles, that works too. Throw the whole container in. And then we're going to add in some cream cheese. And I'm going to do, gosh, this is almost half a block, not quite a block of cream cheese. I'm actually going to add in just a little bit more, maybe another 2 ounces or so. And we are going to add in just a dash of garlic, one little dollop here of minced garlic. If you're adding fruit to your feta dip, leave the garlic out. It's a weird duo there. And I'm gonna add in some basil, some sweet basil. Usually I use fresh herbs, but it's winter. The only herbs I brought inside were my mint and my rosemary this year. It's probably about a teaspoon or so of sweet basil. Gonna add in a 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm just eyeballing it like this recipe. It's probably closer to 1 tablespoon. It's all right if you go a little over, a little under on this recipe. Don't need to get out the measuring spoons. And I'm gonna go ahead and mix this together. And so I mix this together, and it's a little bit thicker than I would like for it to be. So I'm going to actually add in a little bit more olive oil to kind of thin it out just a little bit. Maybe another tablespoon or so. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in just a dash of the honey. We're gonna add the honey on top later. This just gives it a little bit of a nice sweet hint of sweetness to it. And I'm gonna mix this again. May help to lighten it up. I am going to scrape it all into a bowl. And you want to use a dish. I mean, you could put this on a plate if you want to, but we are gonna make a little bit of a dip in the middle to add the honey. So just make sure whatever dish you are going to put this in, that it is deep enough that if your honey overflows, you won't have a sticky mess going on. All right, I'm gonna kind of just smooth her down here. And I'm using this bowl because I can literally just put saran wrap on the top, put it right in the fridge. This is not for a party, or I'd be using something a little more decorative. Okay. I'm going to take a large serving tablespoon and kind of make a hole in the middle here. Not all the way down. I'm going to smooth out the top. I'm going to grab my honey. We're going to drizzle some in the middle. If you want to, you could just drizzle it all over the top. Just like so. And I'm going to add some pistachios. If you're looking for some way to use it, pistachios, I have a delicious, super soft white chocolate cranberry pistachio cookie recipe. I usually make it around the holidays, but it's delicious, good any time of the year. And I'm just going to sprinkle my pistachios all along the top here. These are lightly salted, so it adds a nice little crunch. You got your sweet and your salty. And there we go. So I have taken a French baguette and made some slices, and I am going to take my knife here and I am going to take some of our honey and feta dip, and I am going to spread it on my little crostini, I call it. Want to make sure you get some of that honey in there. If you want to, you could drizzle a little olive oil or some salted butter onto your bread before you add your feta dip. And if you want to, you could add some more pistachios. I, however, really love olives. I like to put olives on everything that I can think of, pretty much. And so I am going to slice up a couple of green olives to put on a few of these. Pistachios to the ones on this side. And then I'm going to bake this in the oven at 350 degrees just for a couple of minutes to let the bread crunch up just a little bit. And it'll be a very tasty snack. These are the baked crostini with the whipped honey feta dip. Got pistachios on some and the green olives on the rest. And this makes for such a super easy, quick snack appetizer idea. I hope you guys liked this recipe for the whipped feta dip and the snack idea, and we will see y'all next time. Welcome back to In the Kitchen with Grace. It is the holiday season. Today I am making a really tasty crowd favorite holiday appetizer. We're doing jalapeno popper cheeseball to serve with Tostitos or crackers. And this is just, you know, everybody loves it. So it's a super simple recipe as well. And to start with, we're going to put 2 boxes of cream cheese into a large bowl. You're going to want to get your hand mixer out for this recipe. I'll put all the ingredients and directions in the description below. And we are going to add 2 tablespoons of sour cream. Honestly, I am eyeballing it, friends. I'm just going to add some in. It's probably more like 3 tablespoons, but it's fine. So I've got about a half a teaspoon of onion powder I'm going to add in. Going to get some garlic powder, and we're going to add 3/4 of a teaspoon in. You can totally eyeball this too, y'all. It's totally fine if you get a little bit more or a little bit less. And then we're going to add in some regular pepper. I'm just going to sprinkle some pepper in. And then we are going to blend this up with our mixer. So I have mixed my cream cheese, sour cream, garlic powder, and onion powder in. If you don't have your hand mixer, that's totally okay. As long as your cream cheese is soft, like at room temperature, it should mix together fairly well for you by using a spoon. I'm gonna grab my shredded cheddar cheese. This recipe calls for a total of 2 cups. And I'm not even gonna measure, I'm gonna eyeball about a cup. We're gonna mix this in real good. We're gonna add in half of our green onion, jalapeno, and crumbled bacon into our cream cheese mixture. You only want to use half of each because you want to save the other half for the outside of your cheese ball. So I have diced up probably about a cup's worth of green onion. And I honestly prefer to use about 1/3 in the mixture and 2/3 for the outside to make sure you have enough for the outside. I have about, these jalapeno peppers are from my garden. I actually froze some and then thawed them. And these were a little bit on the smaller side. So I had diced up 4 to 5 smaller jalapenos. But if you get them from the store and they're fresh, they're usually a little bit bigger. I would go with 2 jalapenos diced. And my crumbled bacon's about 10 strips or so. And again, you want to make sure you leave enough to cover the outside of your cheese ball. We're going to mix this in by hand. And we are going to take our cream cheese mixture. You kind of want it in a bit of a ball shape. It's going to get a little bit messy. Sometimes you're supposed to get messy in the kitchen anyways. And we're going to get all of this out of the bowl. Going to kind of pat it into a nice little ball. Make it pretty. And then we're going to wrap our saran wrap around it. And we are going to refrigerate this. You can refrigerate this for up to like 10 hours if you want to, or for even a whole day probably. But we're going to refrigerate it for at least a couple of hours. And then right before we're ready to serve it, we are going to combine all of these ingredients into a bowl, roll our cheese bowl around in there, and then put it on our serving platter. All right, my jalapeno popper cheese ball has been chilling in the fridge for a few hours, and I have the remaining portion of the crumbled bacon, diced green onions, and jalapenos, and I've added in the other 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese, mixed it together, and I'm going to go ahead and put it into a nice big bowl. It's mixed together very well, and I'm going to unwrap my cream cheese ball. If it's not quite into the perfect ball shape you want it to be in, now is the time to fix that. And then we are going to just kind of pop it right into our crumble toppings here. And then you kind of just roll and sprinkle and press those toppings onto the outside of your cheese ball. Go ahead and press them in. Just like that. And she is ready to serve with some delicious crackers or Tostitos. I hope you all liked this appetizer recipe. It'll be a sure hit at your next family get-together. Thank you so much for your support, liking and sharing our videos here at In the Kitchen with Grace, and we'll see you all next time. Sharing a little tip with you all. If you are making a jalapeno popper cheese ball appetizer for your Christmas family get-together, you probably have a whole bunch of leftover toppings. The crumbled bacon, green onions, diced jalapenos, and shredded cheddar cheese. Guess what? Save this, put it in a bowl, and use it for breakfast tacos. Hello, welcome back to In the Kitchen with Grace. Today we're making a fun and super easy holiday appetizer. We're doing cranberry meatballs in the crock pot. Meatballs are so versatile. You could do sweet and sour, spicy, regular traditional barbecue. I've got a great bourbon barbecue meatball recipe. If that's up your alley, I'll link to that and you can go check that out. But today we're doing cranberry meatballs because it is the season of Christmas and we are doing a little get-together and then a bigger get-together. So for our smaller get-together, I am going to use 1 pound of ground beef in this recipe. Normally, all of my meatball recipes, I make 2 pounds of use 2 pounds of ground beef or ground turkey. Today, I'm only going to do 1. So if you are going to feed a bigger crowd with these meatballs, double the recipe that's in the description below and follow the step-by-step instructions. We are going to start with the sauce, and I love all these, you guys. I love finding their seasonal goodies that they have, and I found a spiced cranberry jam spread, and I'm super excited to use this today. This is a 11.6 ounce jar, and my recipe calls for 3/4 a cup, but I really like to have a lot of cranberry flavor in these meatballs, so I'm going to use closer to a cup. And just scoop this right on out, leaving just a little bit left in the jar. So it should be about a cup or so. And then we're going to do 1/2 cup of chili sauce. So about 1/2 a jar there of your chili sauce. We're going to do 1/4 cup of barbecue. Use whatever barbecue you have on hand. I happen to have hickory and brown sugar. Keep things simple. I love recipes that it's just using what you've got on hand. Throw that in there. We're going to use 1/2 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. I'm not even going to get out the measuring spoons, guys. I'm just going to put some in there. And my recipe calls for sriracha sauce. You want to use 1/2 teaspoon, so literally just a dash. I don't have any on hand. I'm just going to use Frank's Red Hot sauce, but the hot sauce just gives it a little bit of kick, especially with that spiced part of the cranberry jam. So just give a little sprinkle of that in there. And then we are going to add in some salt and some pepper. I've got a little bit of sea salt, a little bit of pepper, and I like to add in a little bit of onion powder, just a pinch, a little bit of garlic powder, just a sprinkle, and then I also like to do a dash of honey garlic seasoning rub. Just put a little bit in there. That honey part adds a little bit You could also add in a dash of honey, actual honey. That would be delicious in this recipe. We're going to mix this together really well. All right, we're going to set the sauce aside. Now it's time to put together the meatball mixture. I have my 1 pound of ground beef in my bowl. It is mostly thoroughly thawed, and we are going to add in 1/4 cup of milk. We're going to add in 1 egg. We're going to add in a dash of pepper, and we're going to add in about 1/4 cup of diced onions. So I'm going to add in about 1 cup of panko breadcrumbs. And again, this recipe, the amounts I'm using is for a smaller amount of meatballs. Normally I would double this recipe. And then we're going to just mix this all together. So your meatloaf mixture should stick together pretty well. You may need to add a little bit more breadcrumbs. Totally fine. After it's all mixed together really well, I'm going to make my meatballs. Slow cooker set up over here. And I'm going to just line the meatballs up inside the slow cooker. I am using a crock pot liner, which totally saves on your cleanup mess. And sprayed it with some cooking spray so the meatballs don't stick. And these meatballs you want to make about 1 inch or so big. You want them to be more like 2 bite size. Traditionally, I make bigger meatballs, especially if we're going to have like pasta or good old comfort meatballs. I'll make them a little bit bigger, but these are appetizer ones, so you want to make them a little bit smaller. We have all of our meatballs in here, and it makes a good 20 meatballs for that 1 pound of ground beef. And we're going to take our sauce and we're going to drizzle it all over the meatballs. And I am going to cook these on low for probably, I don't know, 3 hours or so. I'm going to check them probably at the 2-hour mark and go from there. You can totally bake these in the oven, but the whole point of holiday meatballs is that they sit and keep simmering in that cranberry sauce. That's what makes them extra delicious. So I will show you what these look like when they're all done. Don't these meatballs look delicious? We are doing spicy Louisiana shrimp dip today for a snacky appetizer for throughout the weekend. And I'm starting by cooking my shrimp. These are deveined tails off shrimp, but they are raw, so I have to cook them. And I have them in about 2 tablespoons of butter, about 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, and a few splashes of fresh lemon juice. I'm going to let them cook up, and then I'll let them cool, and then I'm going to chop them up into smaller pieces, and we'll make the rest of our dip. Welcome back to In the Kitchen with Grace. Thank you all for joining us today. I am doing a super easy, tasty appetizer dip. We're doing spicy Louisiana shrimp dip. It's one of my husband's favorites. This is great for, well, anytime snacking really. It's a great way to get a little protein in your snack. It's great for game day, like football, watching football, holidays, if you're going to make a dish to take for a family get together. This one is always well loved. I will put all of the ingredients and directions in the description below for you. I apologize if I seem a little out of breath today. I've been running around trying to get my protein shake in. I have spent like 3 hours out in my gardens today planting all sorts of tulips and daffodils and other early spring bulbs that have to get planted in the fall. The weather today is gorgeous. It's been so cold the last few days, and now it has warmed back up and is sunny. So I've been getting outside, and I cooked my shrimpies this morning before I went out, and then I was like, oh, I gotta get back inside and finish these before I go get the kids from school. So what I have done is I have taken 1 pack of shrimp. These ones are raw, peeled, and deveined. I got this one at Aldi's, and this morning I cooked them in butter and minced garlic and some lemon juice, and then I let them chill in a bowl in the refrigerator, and I just now drained off. I had let them sit in that butter, garlicky lemon juice, so they are packed with flavor. And I let them drain quick in the strainer in the sink, and I'm going to chop these up. If you haven't done so already, you're going to want a bell pepper, some green onion, some chives, and chop those up as well. We'll get to that. This dip goes great with like Tostitos and Ritz crackers, any kind of good cracker. You could also put this, I'm going to put it in a baking dish, but you could totally do it in a bread bowl. So there's all sorts of ways that you could eat this shrimp dip. I did let my cream cheese come to room temperature, and so I'm going to mix my ingredients today by hand. Whoops, I need to take these back out of the bowl. I need to mix this stuff in the bowl first, and then we fold the shrimpies in. Told you, I've been a little busy. So we kind of have a busy weekend coming up, and I wanted to just kind of have something nice for my husband to snack on. Got some green onion hanging on there. I was in my garden, so I had cleaned my garden beds all out already. Well, my chives are still hanging in there, and so I was able to go out and get fresh chives today, which is always awesome. I love to cook with fresh chives. But I've been working really hard on my cut flower business. Fields of Grace, you guys, I will link to that channel if you're not already following over there. If you like to garden, whether it's kitchen herbs or vegetables, cut flowers is kind of my thing. And so I've been really focusing on that the last couple of weeks, getting out there while the weather is still cooperating. And then trying to get all of my holiday recipes planned ahead of time and figured out for Thanksgiving and Christmas baking. And again, so I'm cutting these into small enough pieces that you could scoop. And we are going to bake this. This is a hot dish, hot dip. You know, we had, not that long ago, we had a relative bring over boat dip, which is really similar to a general taco dip, but oh my gosh, it was so good. I might have to make that soon. Just for munching, not for holidays. So this recipe does call for lemon juice. I don't have any fresh lemons. You know me, I usually love to use the fresh citrus, but I don't have it. So I'm going to use the kind that comes in the little jug. Normally, if you've got that fresh lemon, though, get some zest off of it because that adds so much flavor. Okay, we're almost there. Oven's preheating to 350 degrees. Okay, I'm gonna go wash my hand really quick. I am going to take one little nibble of shrimp. I mean, you gotta taste it, right? So good. Okay, I'm gonna gonna grab a good sized mixing bowl. I'm gonna put a whole box of cream cheese, so 8 ounces of cream cheese in there. And again, it's pretty soft. Well, maybe I will grab my mixer anyways. We'll see. My arm's a little tired. I've been out there digging in dirt. Okay, I'm gonna grab some mayo, and you want about a 1/4 cup. I love recipes that you eyeball. It's about a 1/4 cup or so. I ain't getting fancy today, guys. Fewer dishes we dirty, the better and happier I am. We're gonna grab some oh boy, I can't say it today. Lately I've been able to say it. Worcestershire sauce. You want about 2 teaspoons. 1, 2. We're gonna grab some Parmesan. You want about a 1/4 cup. I'm eyeballing it. That's about a 1/4 cup. And we want that lemon juice. So if you've got an actual fresh lemon, you guys use all of the juice in that fresh lemon and get some of the zest off of it. Make sure you strain for seeds. We want to have about 2 tablespoons or so. 1, 2 of lemon juice. All right, let me shake my spoon. We are gonna grab, now normally you would make this with some Cajun seasoning. I'm feeling a little tangy today. I have some chili lime wing dust and some tahini seasoning. We're gonna add in a little bit of both. Normally you would add in about a tablespoon of your Cajun seasoning. My husband really likes this tahini seasoning, so that's kind of why I'm going for that today. And I'm gonna grab, open up here, a pinch. There we go. You don't want it to be too strong. Just a little hint goes really good with that lemon garlicky butter that we did the shrimp in when we cooked them this morning in the skillet. I'm gonna grab my mixer quick and we'll get this mixed up. Alright, I feel like sometimes just mixing it with the mixer really kind of blends everything together so well. You can totally hand mix it. I just feel like, honestly, being a lazy chef today, so I went the easy way. Get all of that there off the beaters. Right, now we are going to add in our peppers. I have 1 whole red bell pepper. I have about a 1/4 cup of freshly picked chives. Use dried chives if you need to. I would use probably about 2 tablespoons of dried chives, but I have fresh, so I'm going to use a 1/4 cup. And then I have about 4 green onions that I have finely sliced up. We're going to go ahead and just toss these in. I really like this recipe because, I mean, the cream cheese isn't healthy, but you do get a lot of calcium and protein through it. The shrimp has protein. We're adding in lemon juice. And then, again, the chives and the bell pepper and the green onion. It's an easy way to just get a little bit of extra veggies and goodness in you. I feel like as a mom, that's always, you know, whatever you can do to get them healthy things into your kids. Okay. All right, we are almost there, you guys. I'm going to grab my shrimp. We are going to just put all the shrimpies right on in. And you want to gently fold. We don't want to squish our shrimp. Do you call them shrimp? We call them shrimpies in our house. I know, it's just how our kids always have called it. And so that just kind of stuck. We call them shrimpies. Oh yeah, this is great. Okay, I have my baking dish. Again, you could use a bread bowl if you want to. And I am going to just put this into my baking dish. I've sprayed it. All right, we're gonna spread it around. We're gonna put this into the oven. I don't know, it's gonna take maybe 15 or 20 minutes. You want the cheese to kind of be nice and warm and gooey and bubbly. If you want to, you could totally add a little bit of cheese on top, like shredded cheese, cheddar, or mozzarella. But I'm not gonna do that. My husband likes it without the extra cheese, so. All right, we're gonna put it in the oven. I'll show you guys what this all looks like when it's ready to go. Oh my goodness, you guys, this shrimp dip looks awesome. I love how the bell peppers and the chives add a lot of pop of color, makes it really festive for the holiday season as an appetizer dish. I am gonna have some with some crackers. Husband will have some with Tostitos for sure. Thank you all so much for watching today. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And remember, there is a link in the description below for you guys to pin and save this recipe for later. Thank you for sharing our recipes with your family and friends. And we'll see you guys next time. Welcome back to In the Kitchen with Grace. Today we are doing two fun little peachy appetizers. We're going to do some crostini in the oven, and then we're going to put together a little tomato peach burrata style salad plate for some healthy snacking. I'm going to start with crostini because I want to throw it into the oven. I have my oven at 350 degrees, and I'm going to grab, I've got my little crostini here all kind of sliced up and on my plate. I'm going to drizzle just a little bit of olive oil on top. Kind of helps it get that nice little crunch. Whew, that one got a little bit. We're gonna just give her a little smooch there to the one next to it. Okay, and I have different kinds of cheeses. I have some double cream brie that's buttery and creamy. I have some hot honey Gouda cheese and then some mini fresh mozzarella pearls. And I'm gonna do kind of a little variety. I'm gonna do some of the brie. I'm gonna save some for my burrata plate, and I'm gonna do some on the crostini here. Let's grab some of that hot honey Gouda. We are gonna use regular honey today. If you have some hot honey on hand, we are caterers. We get some hot honey for some of the food items that we prepare. It's so good. I absolutely love hot honey. I like to kind of drizzle it on everything, honestly. But you can use regular honey. That's what we're gonna use today because I kind of forgot the hot honey with our catering. So, okay, so you can totally just do cheese if you want to, or you could go ahead and add a few tomato slices. I'm gonna kind of cut these a little bit more than how I had them. Let's do one with some tomato. I think I'll do one of each with some tomato. And then I'm gonna grab some peach slices. I have some very fresh peaches that I have sliced up. And I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit on those as well. Peach season is finally here and I love it. The peaches go so good with that hot honey Gouda. Here, we'll do it that way. Make these however you want to. You can totally make them your own. I do have some fresh basil from the garden, so I'm gonna take a little bit, kind of pull a little bit apart, stick a little piece on each one. Okay, and I'm gonna get my honey. I'm gonna drizzle a little bit of honey on top of our crostini. It doesn't take a lot to get that sweetness. Okay, and then if you want to, you can add some balsamic vinaigrette on top. I'm gonna do that for sure for the tomato ones, and maybe a couple of the peach. I'm not gonna do it for all. A little balsamic vinaigrette goes a long ways. You don't need a whole lot to get that flavor. Let's do it on a peach. Okay, perfect. If you want to, you could sprinkle on some salt and some pepper. I'm gonna go put these in the oven really quick, and then we'll work on our burrata salad plate. Crostini will only be in the oven for a couple of minutes, just long enough for that cheese to melt. So for our plate, we're kind of gonna just rotate around. I have a few more pieces of bread that we're gonna kind of just put on here as well for good measure. And I'm gonna just kind of rotate between peaches and tomatoes. And the cheese. Kind of want to mix in the cheese. And then I have more fresh basil. I'm gonna kind of just put some pieces in here. You could use mint. I also have some mint. I might do half and half because I love fresh mint with this as well. So I'm gonna do half with mint and half with the basil. All right, and then again, we're gonna drizzle. Oh, I have some pepita seeds. If you want to, you could use actual pumpkin seeds, but I prefer pepitas. Kind of just gonna sprinkle them around. And then we're gonna drizzle some honey on top. Again, if you have hot honey, use that hot honey. It is so good with this salad. And if you want to, you could do the balsamic vinaigrette. I think I will just on the basil side. Sprinkle a little salt and pepper on top, and voila, we have our nice healthy tomato peach burrata style salad plate for some healthy snacking or even for lunch. Let's go check those crostini. And the cheese has melted on our crostini in the oven. And so we have our warm tomato peach burrata crostini, and then our cold fresh peach tomato burrata style plate. So we got hot, cold appetizer snacking, healthy, delicious. Your family and friends are gonna love it. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Be sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button so that you get notified every time we have a new recipe video up for you. See you guys next time. Welcome back to In the Kitchen with Grace. Today I am making a fun little white bean cheesy tomato spinach dip. It makes for a great appetizer when you've got the munchies, game day, like football type food. And I love that I can add in a lot of natural healthy ingredients into this dip recipe. I am going to start out with putting a little bit of olive oil into my skillet. Probably about 3 tablespoons or so. And we're going to add about 3 teaspoons of minced garlic. If you want to use fresh garlic, feel free to. I'm going to put the skillet, we're going to turn it on to medium heat. And I have diced up 2 medium-sized on the vine tomatoes. It's winter, and so I kind of wanted a cozy dip appetizer, but normally I make this recipe in the summer when I got my fresh garden tomatoes going. I like to use juicy beefsteak tomatoes. Feel free to use whatever you like. I have also used canned tomatoes before, so that's totally up to you. I'm using about 2 medium-sized tomatoes. I've got them diced up. I put these in the skillet. And we're gonna let this kind of simmer and kind of simmer down. We're gonna mash the tomatoes in, and we're gonna let that cook here for a few minutes. All right, so she's been sizzling good here for a good 3 to 4 minutes. You can tell the tomatoes have softened up quite a bit. I am going to add in some sea salt, some black pepper. We're going to add in just a sprinkle here of Italian seasoning. We're going to add in just a sprinkle of red pepper flakes. And I am going to do 2 cans of cannellini beans. And I am going to add in a can of white cannellini beans, white kidney beans. Now I have drained these and rinsed them off. We're going to put those right into the skillet. We're going to add about a 1/4 cup of water. And we're going to do about 1.5 cups, maybe 2 cups of fresh baby spinach. I'm doing like 2 handfuls here. And we're going to kind of gently mix this. My spinach is escaping. And we're going to essentially do the same thing with the spinach and the white cannellini beans as we did with the tomatoes. We're going to kind of let them soften. We're going to let it simmer down. And I'm going to go get my baking dish ready and spray it with my cooking spray while this is cooking. So you can see I've kind of been, as it's been simmering and thickening up, I've been kind of mashing the beans quite a bit. This really doesn't take too long, just a couple of minutes. The whole mixture is thickening up really nicely. Feel free to add more tomato or more spinach if you would like. I've also been known to use chickpeas with this recipe instead of cannellini beans. I'm going to add just a little bit more spinach. We like our spinach. So about another handful here. Mix it in. This dip pairs well with Tostitos, crostini, Triscuits, and crackers. We're gonna add some mozzarella cheese to it so it's nice and cheesy. There's lots of protein, lots of good healthy stuff in this dip. Could have this with toast too. All right. I'm going to add this all into my baking dish. We're going to add some fresh shredded mozzarella to the top. I have used fresh mozzarella as well in this. Oh, it's so good. If I'm using the fresh mozzarella, I like to actually mix it into the dip itself. Shredded cheese, I just like to put on top. Oh yeah, it's gonna be so good. I'm going to bake this in the oven at 350 degrees for about 8 to 10 minutes. The dip's already nice and hot, so really we just want the cheese to get nice and bubbly and melted. All right, our dip is all ready to serve. I'm excited for this. We're going to just scoop some of it here into our dish. We've got our dip, and I'm gonna go ahead and kind of mix the cheese in to the rest in the baking dish so that when we go to reheat it, it's already kind of mixed together and the cheese is so nicely blended in. I'm gonna pair this today with some garden herb Triscuits. And this makes for a nice, healthy snack or lunch even. You could add a whole bunch more to your bowl for a nice big lunch. This makes for a great, healthy, light snack, appetizer dip. You can add it for your lunch. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I hope you really like this recipe. And thank you all for sharing all of our recipes. You can pin them over on our In the Kitchen with Grace 1 Pinterest account as well and save them and use those for your meal planning.